That's the sound of another sale on Shopify in store. Shopify POS is everything you need to sell in person. From payments to inventory, Shopify unites your sales into one commerce platform. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/retailtalks. That's shopify.com/retailtalks.
Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Total Retail Talks. I'm Joe Keenan, the editor-in-chief of Total Retail, and I'm excited to be joined on this episode by Alyssa Vesho, who is the Senior Vice President of Merchandising at Whole Foods Market. We're going to talk to Alyssa about the merchandising strategy at Whole Foods Market, how it fits into that retailer's overall business strategy, as a little bit about her day-to-day role at the organization, and what she's seeing from the Whole Foods shoppers and how that influences merchandising decisions within the organization. So thanks for taking the time to join me today, Alyssa.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe.
So to get our conversation started, I mentioned your title, Senior Vice President of Merchandising. I would love for you to kind of give our audience a little bit of background on your role at Whole Foods, and then kind of talk about your day-to-day and really what you enjoy most about the work.
Sounds good. Great place to start. So as the Senior Vice President of Merchandising, I lead our efforts across all of Center Store. So that's inclusive of dairy, frozen, dry grocery, wellness, beauty, and our local forager team as well. And then I also oversee merchandise presentation and execution. So really what that means is that I have responsibility end to end, from creation of our strategy to product selection, supplier partnerships, bringing value to life for our customers through pricing and promotions, as well as the visual presentation within our stores. And it's honestly hard to give you one thing that I enjoy most about my role. I love seeing my team members shine and bring their own passion and purpose to life through the work that they do. I also love working with our supplier partners to bring their missions to life. I think it's such a gift to work with so many brands and founders that are backed by their own mission, and we create a platform to, again, bring that to life. But I think if I had to give you just one thing that I love most, it's the ability to do a lot of good in a lot of places. Fundamentally, I believe that what I was put on this earth to do is to serve as a catalyst to unlock our collective potential. And in my view, there is no better platform to have an impact on people and the planet than the food system. And that includes everything from supporting climate-friendly farming practices, supporting the livelihoods of folks and farmers around the world, creating access to nutritionally dense foods, and providing our customers joy in discovering the most delicious food or innovative items. So I think, to sum it up, the thing that I enjoy most is working as a part of a community to positively impact the food system around the world.
So that actually leads into my second question for you, Alyssa, in terms of positively impacting the community that you're serving across the globe, really, through the food chain and through the products you're bringing to your stores. Can you talk about how your team's work in merchandising is reflective of the Whole Foods core values and across the organization?
Yes, absolutely. Our work in merchandising is really rooted in our purpose to nourish people and the planet. And everything we do ties back to our core values. And within merchandising and Center Store, we play a very critical role in bringing all of our values to life. But most notably is our value of practicing win-win partnerships with our suppliers. This is a value that we're incredibly serious about, and we're constantly working to be the retailer of choice for our suppliers. I think part of that is being a collaborator, a connector, oftentimes a coach for our suppliers. And this includes things like sharing industry trends, providing feedback on behalf of our customers related to product, formulation, and packaging. We'll even introduce our suppliers to industry partners to provide additional support or guidance. And then we have a very robust communication strategy where we're regularly sharing updates with the supplier community and seeking their feedback. And ultimately, we build action plans to act on the feedback that they shared. The other thing I would add is the teams that I oversee also have the vast majority of local and emerging brands within the store. which continues to be a major priority for us at Whole Foods Market. I'm really excited about our LEAP program. This is our local and emerging accelerator program. And we just recently announced our 2023 cohorts. Participants that are in our early growth track, this is brands that are not yet sold on our shelves, and they benefit from the mentorship and coaching of Whole Foods Market as well as industry experts. We've developed a tailored educational program, the potential for direct financial support from us, and their products are also considered for placement in local Whole Foods Market stores upon completion of the program. The second track is what we call On the Verge. And this is really geared towards suppliers that are currently carried in one market or maybe one geographic territory, but that are poised for growth. And so it follows a similar format as our early growth track, but the content is tailored differently based on what this group uniquely needs. And then last I would say is that in merchandising, we also partner very closely with our business development team on the local producer loan program, or LPLP. And this program really helps create access to funding and resources from founders who may not have survived otherwise. So those are just a handful of ways that within merchandising, we really bring that value of building and cultivating win-win supplier partnerships to life.
Yeah, those are some great examples and some of the good work that you and your team are doing, Alyssa. Um, Taking that one step further, can you talk about what Whole Foods is doing to promote, and you've mentioned some programs that you've rolled out, unique and ethical and sustainable supply chain and sourcing practices as you look at the brands that you work with?
Yeah, absolutely. I already mentioned that the thing I enjoy most about my role is advancement and being a part of the food system. Across our store, we're always working to advance conditions for all of our stakeholders involved, including the climate and animals. We think about them as stakeholders too. And so one area that I'm really proud of is eggs. In 2004, we began selling only cage-free eggs in our dairy cases. And we continued to make iterative and incremental progress, leading up to 2020 when all eggs in our dairy cases met our animal welfare standards for laying hens. And this includes things like the hens have room to roam and scratch about. There are nests or perches provided for the hens to roost at night. They're not given any antibiotics or any land animal byproducts in their food. And these standards were really built after over 500 visits to laying farms, as well as consultations with both farmers and animal welfare scientists. So we really invested the work to ensure that the standards we were developing were right. And I had the opportunity to see these practices in action when I visited Vital Farms in Missouri this summer. The hens on the farm were treated with such love and care. They spent their day foraging about in the forest, and the entire farm was full of happy hens. It made for a really, really great day. But as a result of their mission alignment and ongoing partnership, as well as what results in such a delicious, high quality egg, Vital Farms was one of our supplier all-stars last year. So that's just one example. But again, we're constantly looking to advance across our store as we think about both quality standards as well as animal welfare standards.
So all of this work is being done at the end of the day in support of your customers and what they want and fulfilling the needs that they have, but also doing so, to your point, in an ethical, sustainable manner, giving them brands that are promoting the values of a Whole Foods Market. So talk a little bit about your customer and how their feedback and what they're telling you is impacting and influencing merchandising strategy.
Yeah, great question. I mean, really everything we do in merchandising is in service of our customers and our stores. And we look to create a truly unique and inspirational shopping experience that drives that sense of discovery. And so we capture feedback daily from our store team members who share what our customers are looking for in their day-to-day interactions. We collect direct customer feedback in many ways, but including through our customer insights team. And then we also monitor sales, at a store level, at an item level, as an indicator of customer preferences and what they're gravitating toward. And ultimately, we're constantly iterating on that selection as a result of that ongoing customer input.
Yeah, and I was going to ask about kind of as you evaluate that data, and I'm sure this is happening on a day-to-day basis, you thinking about geographic locations and merchandising strategies for different parts of the country, different customer needs in different geographic locations. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that as you think about kind of the overall organization and drilling it down to the merchandising needs almost on a local market.
Yeah. Yeah. Earlier I mentioned that part of my responsibility is leading the team of local foragers. And so this is a group that we have situated around the country that is really intended to meet local and emerging brand founders on the ground where they are. They also really help us cultivate taste of place. And so that connection to local communities, to local customer preferences, and then tailoring our assortment both in terms of what our customers want on a broad scale, but also what they want within individual markets is a really important part of our merchandising strategy as well.
And then when you think about consumer behavior and all the different external factors that can impact consumer behavior, the macroeconomic influencers such as rising inflation, interest rates going up, how does that, if at all, impact what you're thinking about in terms of merchandising strategy at a Whole Foods market?
Yeah, it has a significant impact on our merchandising strategy. Value continues to be an important consideration for our customers. And in the past 5 years, we've actually made some of the biggest investments in the company's history to lower prices on hundreds of items, on the things our customers care most about, with 3 rounds of major price reductions. We've also leaned into value through our own 365 by Whole Foods Market brand. You've likely seen this brand show up more visibly within our stores, within our media campaigns this year. And we're really proud of the access that this brand provides to really high quality food and products, but at great prices as well. And then we've also invested in more robust promotional events. We implemented a new marketing strategy this year, which includes themed in store events and expanded promotions, off shelf merchandising, sampling, demos, and more. So, really leaning into those promotional events. And as a result of this strategy, during the week of Mother's Day, as one example, we saw the highest weekly unique customer count in Whole Foods Market history. So that's a signal that the way that we're leaning into these pricing investments, these promotional events is really resonating with our customers. And then the last thing I would share is since the launch of Prime member benefits in our stores, our Prime members have saved over $1 billion on exclusive Prime member deals, as well as additional 10% savings on promoted items. And so we'll continue to leverage that as a way to provide incremental value to our Prime members as well.
And I would imagine through that Prime member program, you're also learning about your customers so that you can then, you're collecting that important, valuable data. You can then promote and market to them more intelligently, right? So you learn a little bit more about their behavior.
Yeah, as I mentioned, I mean, we're always paying close attention to how our customers are shopping and what they're buying so that we can ensure that we're delivering on promotions, on value, as well as on product selection that really resonates with our customer base.
So for my final question, Alyssa, I want to switch gears a little bit and get back to something that you mentioned earlier. When you talked about the things that you enjoy most about your job at Whole Foods Market, one of the things that you cited was taking pride in the accomplishments of the team members within your merchandising organization. I want to find out, as a woman leader in the food and grocery sector, how you, as well as Whole Foods, can help pave the way for future women leaders like yourself.
Yeah, I love this question. I think one way that Whole Foods Market, as well as I, can help pave the way for future leaders, especially women, starts with mentorship. And I think about this on two different levels. The first is on an individual level. And here I'm actively engaged in our Cultivate mentorship program, which is a program we have at Whole Foods Market that provides one-to-one mentorship relationships. I also think about mentorship on an industry level. And so I look for opportunities to serve the broader industry through the experience that I've cultivated. I already mentioned things like our LEAP program, which is one area where we're investing in paving the way and providing that coaching and mentorship. This spring, I also joined the Naturally Network board to help support entrepreneurs and founders on a more broad scale. So this is really about building local community, connection, and support for emerging brands, but doing it on a broad scale. And then I'm also actively engaged with the board of our Whole Planet Foundation. And this is work I'm really passionate about. Our Whole Planet Foundation was started to alleviate poverty through microcredit around the world, focused on the communities where Whole Foods Market sources our products. 88% of the fund recipients are women. And the common thread around the globe is that women have the least access to opportunity, like education, employment, and often funding as well. And one of my favorite parts of the foundation is that it asks women to form groups of 5, which really help act as advisors to one another's business, and it contributes to their collective success. So it's an example of how the program not only provides a foundation for women entrepreneurs and creates access to funding, but also builds a support system of women helping women. And to date, we've distributed approximately $105 million through our network of microfinance partners across 80 countries. Last year alone, we gave out 33,555 loans. So a program I'm really passionate about in terms of creating access for emerging entrepreneurs. Through these experiences, as well as those who have mentored me, I've also learned the power of embracing my unique gifts and superpowers, really as an opportunity to serve as an example of authentic leadership. And so I used to think about things like vulnerability and humanity as liabilities that I had to manage. And I've now come to recognize them as part of my leadership superpower. And so when I lean into my own authenticity, I believe that it creates a platform that allows others to do the same. And so this is also a key way that I, as a leader, am trying to help pave the way and set an example for future leaders, especially women.
Great examples of what you individually as well as the organization and Whole Foods are doing to as you noted, kind of pave the way for future women leaders. I think that's a great spot for us to wrap up our conversation. I do want to take the opportunity to thank Alyssa Vecchio, who is the Senior Vice President of Merchandising at Whole Foods Market, for joining us on this episode of Total Retail Talks. Thanks, Alyssa.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at mytotalretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Talks.
Shopify POS is everything you need to sell in person. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/retailtalks. That's shopify.com/retailtalks.